Hello, my name is Devin Toth, and this is my final donation report and reflection for Scout fundraising project in Marketing 321 Sales Expedition. Throughout this project, I worked to raise money to support underprivileged and disabled scouts while also learning real sales skills like prospecting, communication, and staying persistent. This presentation walks through my experience and some of my results and what I learned along the way. This project, why did it matter? It was very different than most assignments because it combined real sales work while contributing to a positive foundation to help make a difference. Instead of selling a product for a grade, I was raising money to help underprivileged and disabled scouts attend a camp. That made the project feel a lot more meaningful and gave me a stronger reason to stay motivated, even when things didn't go as planned. And from a sales standpoint, what are some of these sales challenges that I might have come across? I had to prospect people that I never contacted before, deal with rejection, and stay consistent, even when calls didn't connect or they went straight to voicemail. So it wasn't always easy, but it forced me to build strong confidence and keep pushing forward instead of, getting discouraged. How I found these prospects. So to find the right prospects, I focused on people who would most likely be related to the cause. I used LinkedIn to look for WVU alumni, people with scouting or community involvement, and individuals with outdoor related interests. Once I identified those prospects, I used Zoom info to verify email addresses and phone numbers so I could move into outreach with accurate information. So now for my outreach strategy. It was focused on being professional, but also genuine. I started by sending emails introducing myself as a WVU student and requesting, a short professional conversations. From there, I made both warm and cold calls and tracked all of my outreach utilizing a personalized CRM system that I built. This helped me stay organized with the people that I made connections with and made sure that I followed up with them instead of giving up after one attempt. What actually worked. So what worked best for me was keeping my outreach personal instead of sounding scripted, finding common ground like WU or scouting connections helped conversations feel a lot more natural. Consistent but respectful follow-ups also made a big difference, and treating conversations like real relationships instead of transactions led to a lot more responses and much better support. This project the biggest obstacles and learning from the professional sales side of things, this project helped me grow a lot as a salesperson and as a communicator. I'm much more confident now when asking people for support, and my connection skills have been improved and having a real conversation instead of relying on scripts. They've just continued to grow. I also learned how to handle rejection better without taking it personally. I became more intentional with my follow-ups instead of just reaching out once and then moving on. Looking ahead towards the future, if I were to do this project again, there are a few things I would change. I'd start with a stronger emotional opener to connect with the people faster, and I'd also be more strategic with my calling times, making my calls to action clear and staying persistent earlier in the process instead of waiting until later in the semester. Overall, this project made me a lot more confident, uh, more prepared, and more comfortable stepping outside of my comfort zone. Now for the final results, which is always fun. This slide shows how my fundraising progressed throughout the semester. So at the beginning, you can see the line stays flat for a few weeks. And this was a little frustrating because, you're not really getting too much. progress on your overall goal. But during that time, I was building my prospect list, sending out emails, and getting comfortable with that initial outreach. Then you can see around week 4, I received my first donation, which is where the line starts to go up from there. You can see steady growth over the next few weeks as I improved my conversations, followed up more consistently, and became more confident asking for donations. Towards the end of the semester, there's a much bigger jump in donations. And that's kind of where you can see the final push that came from stronger follow-ups and intentional calls, which really helped me reach my goal of $350. Overall, this chart shows that the process took time. Even though the results weren't immediate, I definitely stayed consistent and did not give up on what was able to help me finish strong. So how did this change me and what would I do next time? Overall, this experience helped me grow as a lot as a salesperson. I became a lot more confident asking for support and more comfortable starting conversations. Even when they felt uncomfortable at first, my communication skills definitely improved. I learned how to handle rejection without letting it slow down. I was also a lot more intentional with my follow-ups, which definitely helped me build better relationships over time. Looking ahead, there are a few things I would do differently next time. I would definitely use a stronger emotional opener earlier on so people immediately understood the purpose behind the ask. I would also be a lot more strategic with calling times and making sure my calls to action are clear and very direct. Most importantly, I would start being persistent sooner instead of waiting because consistency clearly made a difference in my results. This project reinforced that sales success comes from confidence, preparation, and genuine effort. And that's something I'll carry forward in the future sales experiences.